Just Baseball Show on Tuesday, the 21st, Tuesday, May 21st. It is presented by BetMGM as always. Jack and Peter talking about Pete Alonso's declined extension last June. Did the Mets try and lowball him? I don't know. Let's talk about it. Also, a lot of injuries. This sucks. A crazy cool story about the newest reliever for the St. Louis Cardinals. And then I want to play a little game with Peter when it comes to quote unquote bad players for the first quarter of the season. How we doing? Good?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited. I had a little bit of a mental slip up yesterday talking about flies and talking about
Yeah,
I don't
jaw
want to
was
get
on the
into it.
floor. Flies were entering your mouth in a pause-esque way.
Yeah, it was probably one of the most embarrassing things I've ever said into a microphone. So other than that, I'm fine.
Okay, gotcha. Did you look into Tessie?
No.
You really don't know it.
Well, I did hear that it was MVP baseball from 2005. Here's my thing. I was never a video game player. Growing up, I was always the
You
worst.
never played MVP Baseball 2005?
Not once.
That's the greatest video game ever.
I don't know what to say other than I'm sorry. I never really played video games growing up. I try and play MLB The Show with my friends. They would always beat the shit out of me. Never had a chance. Tried Call of Duty, couldn't aim. Tried Fortnite, couldn't build. I'm just a terrible video game player. So I never got into it. So I don't know the allure of sports video games that well. I suck at them all.
So can I tell you, do you think that's a hand-eye coordination thing?
I think
Can I tell you if that is a hand-eye coordination thing, that's probably why you're not in the league yet. And I know that you still aspire to be in the league, but that's probably why you're not there.
no, I was using hand-eye coordination on the field like a freaking athlete. Because think about it, who are the best video game players in the world? Like Ninja? I haven't seen him ever play a sport in his entire life. I think it's
Blake
more,
Snell, Lucas Giolito.
yeah, well, how are they doing right now? No, just kidding. They're doing fine. Um, like I think it's like thumb to palm coordination. I wouldn't call it hand-eye coordination. I wouldn't say it's the same thing. Like Ninja is actually the best at framing baseballs. Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. No, I mean, listen, it's different skills, different skill sets for sure, but that's kind of crazy that you never even like dove into MVP baseball 2005.
I've played probably 25 to 30 games of MLB The Show in my entire life. And then a handful of Call of Duty. I was too busy, outside, talking to women.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You sound like what's her name? Heidi Gardner on SNL. One of the best skits they've put out in the last decade is that Beavis and Butthead skit with Ryan Gosling and Mikey Day.
Oh, yeah, I've seen
And it's like you're telling me you never watched Beavis and Butthead? No, I was pretty, so I was going to parties and hooking up. Is
it.
that you?
Exactly. Yeah, I was pretty and I was hooking up.
Got it. I watched Beavis and Butthead growing up.
It makes sense.
Uh,
I'm not surprised.
I want to tell you about our friends at Game Time before we talk about Pete Alonso. Game Time is now an official ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball. It is an authorized ticket marketplace in Major League Baseball, and that makes getting tickets to MLB games even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. We're recording Monday at 3:44. I looked at Indiana Fever tickets. I went to the Fever home opener. It was awesome. I used Game Time.
With Caitlin Clark, right?
Caitlin Clark, yeah.
Yep.
I saw him play the Liberty. So Sabrina Ionescu, Brianna Stewart. It was fun. Fever lost by like 30, but they're playing the Connecticut Sun tonight. I woke up this morning. I looked at tickets, 100 level, right around $50. I'm like, not going to do it. I opened it like an hour ago and I saw the flash deal push them down to $17 for a 100 level ticket. I'm like, I might do this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to see if the flash deal looks good after we get done recording, and I might go to the Indiana Fever Connecticut Sun game. But use Game Time for last minute deals like I'm looking to do right now. Save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, list goes on. Yes, you get a lowest price guarantee. You get panoramic seat views when you're looking at seats, but I love the all-in pricing. I'm talking 17 all in. I'm not talking 17 and then you tack on another 12 with fees. I use the toggle feature so you know what you're getting into and you avoid that like, oh my gosh, feeling at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code JUSTBASEBALL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code JUSTBASEBALL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
It's the best. Make sure that you use it. Go to the profile section, put in code JustBaseball when you're buying tickets. You get $20 off your first order, and you probably will never use another ticket operator ever again because it is literally the best. It's the only one I have because I always get the lowest price. And
It's
that's the
way
main
too
point.
easy, and like
Yeah,
you get the link to your ticket via text too.
it's easy.
Like
It's the easiest no-brainer ticket app. It's an easy sell, to be honest, with our entire audience. It's very easy sell because we use it. All of our friends use it. Everybody over here at Just Baseball uses it because it's the best. So if you haven't used it yet, code Just Baseball in that profile section.
so you thought another no-brainer might have been the New York Mets extending Pete Alonso. And Joel Sherman of the New York Post reported that last June, the Mets offered Pete Alonso 7 years for $158 million. It would take him through his age 35 season. It would have started this year. He would have made about 22.6 annually. He turns 30 in December, and it's really looking like he's going to hit the open market. Now, I know that Pete Alonso, who hits 45 homers and drives in 125, is probably worth more in this market than 22.6. But across 7 years when he was an older rookie, I don't know how to ingest that deal. Like, I look at that and I say, is that a good deal for Pete Alonso?
So I don't know how to ingest it for more than those reasons. Like, I agree with everything you said, and then there's more. Number one, are we sure this was even a thing? Because Steve Cohen, the words that have been coming out of his mouth are, I hope Pete Alonso makes the decision difficult on me when talking about his impending free agency. He's also said that we have not gone to the negotiating table with Pete Alonso. So now John Morosi comes out in this 2-minute clip where I can't even find the rest of the episode. Like, I watched the clip and he's like going about it. And when we look at that deal in itself, another reason where I don't really understand it is, does Pete Alonso think that he's going to get more money than Freddie Freeman or Freddie Freeman or
Matt
Matt
Olson.
Olson? Like, he's not better than them. And if we're talking about age, he doesn't have the age gap over them where it's like, oh, well, Pete Alonso's 25, so maybe not he's not as good as Matt Olson and Freddie Freeman, but he should get more because of his age. No, he's going to turn 30. So I'm confused for more reasons than just that. Are we sure this ever happened? Point one from John Morosi. And two, why did John Morosi even say it? Is there a reason that he said it? Did he just let one fly? Because, and this is pure speculation. So
Yeah.
for everybody listening, do not take this as fact. This is just my brain thinking. Is there an element that, well, Pete Alonso is a Scott Boras client,
Yeah.
that the Mets wanted that deal out there. So when he leaves in free agency, they can say, hey, we tried to save face with their fans. That's what it internally hit for me. Could be completely wrong, but that was my initial reaction because I don't understand it from the Mets' point of view. Pete Alonso, why he would turn it down, or at least not continue the negotiations, just say 7 for 158, no way. And then nothing ever resulted in that. And then the Mets timeline with how they called this a bridge year, that they haven't tried to extend him, or at least that's what they haven't shown publicly. All of it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that this is the Mets saying, well, we tried to their fan base. I think if there's any media market in America that Scott Boras like still for some reason has a hold on, it's New York. Like,
And where does John Morosi reside?
is he a New York guy?
He's a New York Post guy.
No. John Morosi, he's not a New York Post guy. John Heyman is a New York Post
No,
guy.
I know John Heyman is as well, but I'm pretty sure Morosi.
No, Joel Sherman was the one that reported that.
Joel Sherman, I meant. I was saying John Morosi. I meant Joel Sherman.
Okay, Joel Sherman the whole time.
Excuse me. Yes, my bad. My bad.
Got it. I think John Morosi's a Detroit guy.
Yeah.
Like,
That's on me. I was saying John Morosi because for whatever reason I had just seen a recent tweet of his and like that name popped into my mind, but
Yeah.
I meant Joel Sherman.
No, I think Joel Sherman was doing legitimate reporting, and that is a deal that legitimately happened. And I think this could be a level of Boris just saying like, "Hey, no, we're gonna go get better money on the open market." But this is before Boris had his ego shattered this offseason. Remember that. This happened last June. Like this happened before Snell and before Montgomery and before Bellinger and before Chapman. Like, dude, I think if we have this conversation again and they say, okay, we'll give you 7 for 165, in your right mind, you have to say yes. I love the point that you bring up. Do you think he's getting more than Freddie Freeman and Matt Olson? Yes, we're 2 years later than when this happened, or we're 3 years later than when this happened for Freeman and Olson. But at the end of the day, man, like Freeman and Olson are better candidates for a long-term, really lucrative extension than Pete Alonso. And I know that the offensive numbers stack up really well. Matt Olson at this point in his career is an 866 OPS guy, and he's what, about a year older than Pete Alonso? Alonso at this point is an 862 OPS guy. And that's the one offensive number you got to look at for first baseman. Pete Alonso, 45 homers, 116 driven in, hitting 250 per 162. Matt Olson, 40 homers, 110 driven in, hitting 254 per 162. They're the same guy. Guess who the better defender is? Like, I think you have to look at Olson signing 8 for 168, I think it was, because Freeman was 6 for 166, and say, just give me that. Give me 6 for 168. Why not? Take the Freeman years, take the Olson money. I think that's a decent deal for Pete Alonso, and I think he should absolutely say yes to that.
And that's why I was a little bit confused because why would Pete Alonso turn down 7 years, 158 and not even go back to the negotiating table? Isn't that reasonably
I think that's a great
close?
starting point.
That's what I'm saying. So if like they offered that and he immediately just said, no, we're done, because that was the only report that came out, that doesn't make sense to me. And now you could say, well, Peter, it's not really 7 years, 158, because it was discussed last June, meaning that this current year, where what's Pete Alonso making right now? Like 20-ish? What is he making right now? Like whatever he's making right now, you would include that into the contract. So it's more of a 6-year deal. Okay, I can understand not loving that, but to say the offer's off the table, we're not speaking about it,
No, I
doesn't make
think that
sense.
was, it doesn't make sense. If that is actually how it shook out, I think that's pretty immature from Boris, but I think we know that he doesn't, he's not really been cooking with gas over the last year and
But that was
change.
before all of this stuff happened,
I
like you
know.
said.
But
Yeah.
but you also got to remember that Alonso was coming off of 40 and 131, where he hit 270, and he was tracking
Yeah.
midsummer like 46 and 118, which is what he finished with. I mean, he was tracking like 50 and 130 at this point last year when they offered that. So he was probably thinking like, I'm on top of the freaking world right now.
Yeah.
You're not gonna squeeze any money out of me. I'm gonna get it. But then he hit 217. And like, I know batting average ain't the whole thing. And yeah, he had 46 pumps, but like, I mean, shit, dude. Olson, before he got that 8-year extension with Oakland, 39, 111, he hit 270. Like, you have to know where you are. And I think last June, and I was guilty of it too. I was saying Pete Alonso is a $200 million first baseman. But now you're 30 when you're about to sign your deal.
Yeah.
And I don't think any 30-year-old first baseman is a $200 million player. I think a 28-year-old first baseman can be a $200 million player, but not a 30-year-old.
So, yeah, I think for all of the reasons we stated, we're confused. And we're going to
Yeah.
continue to update you, everybody listening on the situation. But let us know in the YouTube comments. I would love the Mets fans to speak up. Do you think Pete Alonso is worth this contract? Number 2, do you believe in the report? And I think that's the only 2 points that I'd love answered. Do you believe that this report is legitimate, that the Mets actually did this? And then do you think that Pete Alonso is worth that amount of money?
And do you think Pete Alonso is a chill guy? Tell us that too. Why not? Bonus third question. Is he a
Bonus,
chiller?
bonus fourth question. Do you enjoy the Polar Burger? And how would you compare it to the Judge Burger?
Have you tried both?
I've not tried the Polar Burger yet, only the Judge Burger, which is number one.
You're going to Pittsburgh later this summer. You going to do the Renegade dog with the pot roast and the pierogies?
I looked it up after you mentioned that, and 1000% I have to do it.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It
I'm not
looks
going to check out
sleepy.
that song, but or the video game, but I will check out the pierogi dog.
That looks really good.
Eh.
Tessie by the Dropkick Murphys. That's Peter's crazy. That's Peter's Elvis.
So also about that song, that also is from the 2004 Red Sox run where they destroyed the Yankees' hopes and dreams, came down 3-0. Like I have to go revisit that to
it
hear the
should be
song.
ingrained into your brain. It
I hate it. I don't want to
burned
remember
in.
that.
Come on.
It was like my first horrible memory. I was born in 1997, so I was like alive and awake for that. It's like my worst first memory ever. So I don't want to relive that through your stupid song.
I'm
Actually,
not
I'm
gonna
never listening to that song ever again
You know what?
or at all.
I'm not gonna tell you what my worst first memory was in terms of like grand scheme of the world thing, but it was way worse than the Yankees losing to the Red Sox in the ALCS.
We'll keep it at that.
Yeah. All right, injury report. Let's go to the injury report, shall we? Here's the deal. Bad news everywhere. So we're just going to kind of run through it rapid fire. I could throw it to you for like a quick reaction, but I'm sure you're going to be like, yeah, it sucks. Sorry to hear it for these guys.
Yeah, it sucks.
So, how about we do this? Off the top of your dome, contingency plan based on all of these.
Okay.
Okay. We're starting with Jung Hoo Lee in San Francisco. He's out for the year, shoulder surgery to repair the labrum in his left shoulder after a collision with the wall last week when he was jumping for a ball in dead center. I think I already know the contingency plan, and he had 11 RBIs over a 2-game stretch over the weekend.
You answered it for me. It has to be Luis Matos. I mean, having that many RBIs is going to get you another shot. And he is the Giants' top prospect, or at least one of them.
One of
Him,
them,
Kyle Harrison, Marco Luciano. Like I know there's other guys, but like
Eldridge, yeah.
those are like the three key guys that I think like maybe the casual baseball fan, when understanding the Giants system, has heard those guys so many times before. Now it's time to give them an opportunity to do so.
So my other thing was I was watching the Rockies telecast over the weekend, and they mentioned that the Giants fans were chanting Matos, Matos. And they said, I mean, they didn't even know who that guy was last week, and now they're chanting Matos, Matos. He played 60 something games for him last year. They
Yeah,
know
100%.
exactly who he is.
Exactly. They know who he is, and most fans do. And the Giants, if you're not going to give him a shot now, when are you? So it has to be Luis Matos.
Couple of cuts in the elbow. Emmett Sheehan of the Dodgers, Matt Brash of the Mariners both underwent Tommy John last Wednesday. Sheehan, contingency plan clear as day. Clayton Kershaw just threw off a mound at Dodger Stadium. I saw Fabian Ardaya tweet out a video of that, but I mean, again, Bueller just went 6 shutout. Like you got Gavin Stone, Miller coming off the shelf. That
Here's the,
Glass now guy's fine. Paxton's fine.
and even Landon Knack is pretty good.
Yeah.
He's not amazing, right? I'm not saying like, oh, that's the plan moving
No, it's
forward.
better than
Like
what Stone was last year.
Landon Knack's been great. Like he's mostly been a 5 and dive guy, but he's got an ERA under 3. So in terms of contingency plans, it stinks. You never want to see a guy go down hurt like this, but the Dodgers are going to be completely fine.
Just fine. Matt Brash out of the Mariners pen. That's a huge blow. They're expecting him back mid-June. I saw that was like kind of the initial timetable. He didn't throw for about a month. Then he underwent surgery in mid-May, so that would be an 11th month timeline to the point that he's back. He's nasty. I'm really just sad that Munoz doesn't have his 8th inning guy anymore.
Yeah. But luckily, I think they're going to be totally fine. I mean, I'm looking at this Mariners.
They spawn like it's Brewers,
Yeah.
Rays, like Mariners are just spawning relievers now.
Like Ryan Stanek, we remember him, great reliever for the Astros, kind of was middling last year. He looks like he's been totally fine. 4.20 ERA for the Mariners so far. Gabe Spire, shout out Dos Pueblos High School, went to my high school. He's a legend. 3.29. He's been great. Trent Thornton, who they just grabbed, 2.37. Austin Voth, who they just grabbed, 2.95. So again, they have plenty of arms, and then at some point they're going to get back Gregory Santos from that strained lat that he had in March, is what I'm looking at. So losing him is tough. but they'll be fine. That's all.
Also,
Like, yeah,
shout out Saucedo, shout out Taylor Saucedo, who are friends at the Marine Layer podcast, who's part of the Just Baseball Network. If you are interested in all in Mariners coverage, go check out our fellas Lyle and TJ with the Marine Layer pod. They had Taylor Saucedo on, and this snippet made the Mariners broadcast over the weekend. Taylor Saucedo apparently doesn't believe that Babe Ruth was real, which is interesting, and it makes me want to root for Taylor Saucedo a little bit more because, like, weird cat playing ball at the highest level we've got doesn't believe in the greatest player to ever do it.
it is interesting. I did watch that clip because they're kind of saying, all we've seen is some grainy images, right? We have no
Did we
proof.
did we land on the moon? Is Babe
Yeah, it's
Ruth a
like,
real guy?
I guess we could question everything.
Who named their kid George Herman? Like, that's weird.
That is a good point. Who would name their kid George Herman Ruth?
I don't know. There's a Twitter account called Actual Names, and they put out some hilarious names. And like, people have named their kids anything they want over the years. George Herman Ruth is fine.
Pretty lame. Just
I
old
think
man.
so. Nico Horner, next one for you. Cubs have kind of like a weird turnstile of middle infielders going right now. I saw Dansby Swanson. The plan is for him to be activated today. Patrick Mooney of The Athletic put that out yesterday. Jorge Castillo of ESPN reported that Luis Vasquez got the call from Iowa. He's going to make his major league debut. He's going up with the Cubs. By the way, super excited for Luis Vasquez. That is a sneaky young guy, I think still 23 years old, maybe 24 years old. One of the best defensive shortstops I've seen at the AAA level, and people with the Cubs rave about Luis Vasquez. Is he going to hit enough as a big leaguer? No idea. He's so sick with the glove. I know Aram is really high on his glove, and like, this guy's a big leaguer, man. Like, that I think is the takeaway from anybody that watches Luis Vasquez for a week or more. It's like, this guy's a big leaguer and he's going to get a shot. Nico Horner has been out, hasn't played in nearly a week. He's dealing with a hamstring thing. Craig Counsell said on 670 The Score that, like, at some point we have to make a decision, and that's an IL decision on Horner. You cannot burn one of those 4 bench spots for bats you have.
Yep.
And like, Horner may be headed to the shelf, no idea, but based on Dansby being activated and Vasquez coming up, it seems like Horner might be headed to the shelf.
I don't think I have to add anything. I think the proof is right there in what you said. I think Vasquez is going to be the second baseman in his absence, and Dansby's going to be the shortstop. And those two gloves up the middle are going to turn a lot of great double
I'm
plays.
not saying it's Dansby and Nico, but like, Luis Vasquez is not a staunch drop off.
There you go. So you won't see a defensive drop off in Wrigley. You just might see the offense tail off a little bit, and then Nico will come back, and then they'll be totally fine again.
Rest in peace, the Miles Mastroboni shortstop experience.
Not ideal.
Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened, and the Pirates took 3 of 4 at your place.
A little shit talking. I like it.
I'm raising the Jolly Roger, man.
It's got to be tough too because like you're a Chicagoan.
Well, dude, I like the Cubs now. I mean, Cubs got, listen. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun watching Cubs Pirates at Wrigley, especially with Skeens doing what he did, and I mean, man, that was all. And Shota doing what he did. Austin Riley on Monday felt no soreness in his left side for the first time in a week, according to David O'Brien on the Braves beat. He'll ease into dry swings, then T swings to follow. Zach Short's playing pretty much every day for the Atlanta Braves right now. Good for Zach Short, fellow podcaster. Ooh. They need Austin Riley back.
Yeah, they do. And they just blew another game to the Padres. And that was on the backs of getting embarrassed on Sunday Night Baseball, losing game 1. They had a 5-1 lead, and the bullpen blows it to the Padres.
And Reynaldo Lopez was awesome again.
Again. But it didn't matter. Now, when the offense shows up and gives you 5, the bullpen blows it. When the starting pitching and the bullpen look great, the offense isn't there. The Braves, I mean, this is the worst stretch of Braves baseball in a few years, it looks like. It really does. Their offense looks like a shell of its former self.
And that starts with Acuna.
But Acuna had a 3-for-5 day. I mean, just one game. But I agree. It starts with him. It starts with Ozzie Albies. Riley being out certainly doesn't help. And when Riley was in, he was not that effective this year. I know that the quality of contact numbers say he's going to get better, and I agree with you. But the reality is he has not been prolific. Matt Olson hasn't either. It's really just been the Marcelo Zuna show because Michael Harris, even in the six hole, has got an OPS below 700. Like, and then Jared Kelnick, and then Travis d'Arnaud and Sean Murphy aren't playing right now. So it's Chadwick Trump, who, you know, is your third
Wearing
catcher.
number 45, by the way.
Yeah,
Trump wearing 45 has become a good joke.
that is good. But he's your third catcher. So when I look at this Braves lineup, instead of the, I don't know what used to be at the bottom, whether it was like Murphy, Arcia, and
RC was hitting
Harris.
ninth, and he started an all-star game.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like Zach Short, Chadwick Trump. I'm saying Trump now.
Yeah, Trump.
And I don't even know who's at the back end anymore. I mean, I was watching the game today. I'm like, this is just not the Braves lineup.
Well, what's crazy is like I was watching, front 5 innings of that game, and Reynaldo Lopez was cruising again, and I was like, okay, this is the get right day for the Atlanta Braves because it's Reynaldo Lopez. They got to Dylan Cease enough.
Oh yeah,
and like Olson vaporized that ball. 113, 415 to right. Like, oh my gosh, that dude's sending pellets into the chop house. Nothing hits quite like that in baseball right now. But Lopez was cruising. They got to Cease. I thought, okay, this is the get right day for the Atlanta Braves because game 2 of the doubleheader, and we're talking before it happens, but it happened last night, is Sale against Randy Vasquez. And like, I feel like I know how that's going to go. But
right?
Man, like if Reynaldo Lopez wins against Cease and then you got Sale versus Vasquez, it's, the Braves are back. Let's go.
But who knows? Maybe
that's not how that happened.
Maybe we're talking and everybody's listening to this podcast and the Braves just lost both games of the doubleheader. We already watched the first one. It didn't go well. Who's to say that the second one won't be a similar thing? Who knows?
Panic meter status. Braves, Astros. Who are you panicking about?
Yeah, no. And then, but again, the Braves are obviously a great team. It's just they're watching their rival in the Phillies never lose any games. They're watching the Dodgers on the West Coast dominate every game they've been in so far. And they're thinking to themselves, we're supposed to be the best team in baseball. Now we're not even top 2 in our league. And I think it's like a weird transition, especially after losing Spencer Strider. Like this team needs a kick in the ass, which includes Austin Riley coming back healthy and starting to pulverize baseballs again. Ronald Acuna not dropping freaking fly balls in right field. I know you saw that. It's just another mistake by him. And just these guys to be themselves. I mean, what's going on here? So I still think they'll be fine. It's just a weird stretch. Happens in baseball, happens to everybody. Yeah. But damn, it's weird to watch because they're all so good and so talented. But then you look up at the scoreboard and you see another L.
Yep. One other quirk. Have you heard about Reynaldo Lopez's mouth guard that he wears?
No, I haven't.
So Wiley Ballard was filling in doing some like sideline stuff for Bally Sports South on the Braves telecast. And he had a great story. First month of the year when he was doing that work. And it was about Reynaldo Lopez wearing a mouth guard on his bottom teeth, not his top teeth. It was like, why are you wearing a mouth guard on your bottom teeth? Apparently he was tipping pitches. And I think it was in Chicago, and James McCann pointed it out to him, said, hey, man, you're sticking your tongue out when you're going to throw a breaking ball.
No way.
Yeah. So he was tipping pitches with his tongue, and that's why he wears a mouth guard on his bottom set of teeth.
It must be just some weird reaction that he has when he's gripping it a little bit harder, that slider, and his tongue just pokes out. Remember Jordan? He was famous for the tongue out thing. Maybe it's just like a weird reaction. That's funny. I did not know that.
Speaking of Jordan, Anthony Edwards, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, he's different, but this is a baseball show.
Yeah, man. I mean, I thought that was a very fun little quirk and something you only get from watching the local TV broadcast, because like the national games are never really going to get into that. So I can appreciate that. Last injury that I want to go over happened yesterday. Game 1 of that series, Atlanta, San Diego. Xander Bogaerts went diving for a ball, landed on his shoulder weird, removed from the game. He was in a lot of pain dealing with a shoulder thing. the fall looked similar to Story. And I don't want to
Yeah.
say, oh, the injury is going to be similar to Story, but the fall looked similar to Trevor Story. That would suck so bad.
Be horrible. Luckily, what saves it is the Luis Ariz trade is looking better and better by the day,
Yeah.
right? The Padres had a surplus or have a surplus of middle infielders, and you say, what are we doing trading for Luis Ariz? Here's the reason why. Because you never know what's going to happen, and might as well add the best bat at the best time that you possibly can. So luckily, they have Luis Ariz just slot right back into second base. But at the same time, though, you're dropping a lot on defense because Xander Bogaerts is still a good defensive second baseman. And I don't have to look at any of the numbers. I know it, right? He's a great shortstop. He slides over there. He's going to provide a ton of defensive value over there. Luis Ariz is one of the worst second basemen in the league right now defensively. So you're having a downgrade there. So the bat is going to be fine, but you're also then losing Xander Bogaerts' bat. And Bogaerts has not hit well this season. But you assume that he's going to get better and better because that's what Xander Bogaerts does. So to lose him right now is a dagger. It's not the sword where the season's over, anything like that, but it is a knife to the side where you're building up this momentum on offense and then one of the key cogs then goes down. Hopefully it's not nearly as bad as what we're thinking it could be because of the fall. I was watching the game and I saw it and I instantly go, oh no, oh no, oh no, because it gives you that feeling of when you're watching an NFL game or something and a guy goes down on a non-contact injury, stuff like that. NBA player falls off a dunk or, in MLB when stuff like this happens to Trevor Story, it gave you that oh no type feeling. And I hope that feeling is the worst that comes of it. And we find out, oh no, he's totally fine. That would be awesome. But it does really hurt if he's out for much longer.
Yes.
And the
100%.
reason I'm saying that is like Padres fans may be like, it's not that big of a deal right now, right? Xander Bogaerts has not been hitting well, but he's going to hit better in the future.
He's a
We know that.
$200 million man.
He's proven it time and time and time and time and time and time again. So to think that he just won't because he started off struggling, I think is very unfair to Xander Bogaerts. So it is a big loss.
Yeah, 100%. All right, that concludes the lengthy injury report.
One more. I mean, Zach Eflin just went on the IL with that back thing.
Oh, yeah. Also, did you see the report that the Braves were reportedly interested in Zach Eflin? I don't know what that means. I'm going to ignore that.
Do the Rays want to trade Zach Eflin? I know why they potentially could is because he's a free agent soon. So I understand it. Do they want to pay
It's on
him?
year 2 of a 3-year deal.
Exactly. So it didn't make a lot of sense to me. But these reports, a lot of them don't make a lot of sense to me. I think they're just out there to be out there.
I really I don't know. I think we just kind of get into this rhythm of trying to play MLB The Show in real life. I saw a very non-reputable website, but when I was Googling Austin Riley for the latest on his injury, I saw like one of the top stories on my Google search pop up as, would it make sense for the Braves to trade Austin Riley? No. The answer is no.
No, to the Yankees.
Sure, go ahead. He doesn't have facial hair. You're fine. But man, there are just way too many people out there that want to see the constant turnstile of expressing interest. Can't Zach Eflin just play out this 3-year contract he signed with the Tampa Bay Rays?
Yeah.
Can that happen, please?
I'm down for it.
They don't pay people. Why not just let them see a paid free agent contract through to the end?
100%. No, No, I agree with you fully.
Me. Also, you said what? Ian Hamilton to the IL?
Yeah, Ian Hamilton is on the IL for the New York Yankees. He's one of their better relievers. COVID IL. I guess he got COVID. I didn't even know that was still around.
Yep, it's still a thing, Peter.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I am.
I never got it.
I got it. Do you want to hear my COVID story?
Sure.
I went to the Florida, or no, not Florida. Sorry, Florida hasn't been in a national championship since Tebow was there. Sorry,
oh, wow.
Ethan Badowski. Chirp, chirp, chirp. But I went to Georgia, Alabama, that national championship when Georgia beat Bryce Young and Bama. That was in Indy. I was living 2 blocks away. You do it. You fork it up. I went with my dad.
Electric.
And we were 2 of the only people in that place, the 2021 national championship, wearing masks. And I was double masked with the KN95. And I had people shaking me and hit me on the chest every time Bama made a stop on third down. It was crazy. I wake up the next day, feel like ass. Test a day later, COVID. It's like, you know what? It's okay. It was a great football game that I was at.
Yeah, I was decent with the masks. I always hated wearing them, but I wore them because whatever. And never got it. And I'm asking myself, are you really that fast? And here's what I mean. Think about how athletic you have to be to dodge COVID, because you're
Yeah.
talking about potentially the germs getting into you. Like, I was just way too quick. Like, when
Yeah.
it's coming this way, I'm here, right? Like, I'm Muhammad Ali with the neck movements.
So your quickness is what's going to get you to the league. Your hand-eye coordination, your thumb-eye coordination has prevented you from getting to the league at
We're
this
not
point.
all perfect, right? I'm never going to be a professional video game player, but there's a high chance I'm a professional athlete because of my quickness.
Yeah.
And it's shown that I didn't get COVID. How? Being athletic and avoiding it. So everybody that got it, you're probably not that athletic,
I'm
unfortunately.
I'm down to get off the COVID thing if you are.
Me too. Yeah.
Okay. I've got a fun little story about Ryan Loutos, but before that, I think you want to tell us about our friends at Outlier. Is that the
I
case?
do. Outlier is a sports betting decision assistant for aspiring intermediate and advanced sports bettors who understand that data is the foundation of a profitable sports betting strategy. Outlier pairs hyper-contextual and relevant sports data with available betting markets. And unlike traditional sports data sites like ESPN and Baseball Reference, and this is the reason I love it, it makes everything so easy because they organize and visualize data for easy comprehension, efficient decision making, and immediate execution. It's money. Make sure to check out its first of its kind strike zone heat maps and pitch arsenal roundups that allow you to quickly visualize pitcher and batter matchups all in one screen. It's a no-brainer app to try. It's available on iOS, desktop, and mobile browsers. 7-day free trial at outlier.bet/justbaseball, or go to our episode description, click the link. You'll see it. 7-day free trial to Outlier. Use code justbaseball. Try it out, right? I know commitment can be tough. So all you got to do is try it out. And if you don't like it, just cancel. But I doubt you're going to cancel because it's freaking awesome. You can find it in the episode description.
I can confirm that it is freaking awesome.
Yes.
Now I want to tell you about Ryan Loutos, who is the newest St. Louis Cardinal. He is in that bullpen. I've watched him for, I think, each of the past 2 years, maybe the past three, with Memphis, with AAA, Cardinals AAA affiliate, the Memphis Redbirds. Ryan Loutos, and I want to make sure that I get all this information right, was a non-drafted free agent in the 20-round draft in 2021. So first COVID, first post-COVID draft was 20 rounds after the realignment. He did not go. He signed as a non-drafted free agent with St. Louis out of Washington University in St. Louis, D3, better known as Wash U, I think. Super good school. Jake Mintz, half a Cespedes family barbecue. By the way, met Jordan Schusterman in Indy. He was at a skiing start. Excellent fellas over there at Cespedes family barbecue. But Jake tweeted out that he was 90-92 when Loutos was signed. Now he's 94-95 with a sinker sweeper. That's at least what he did on Saturday in his last outing with Memphis. Jeff Ponce, another friend, and Aram and Jeff are tight. Jeff Ponce and BA noted in a write-up in 2022 that the Cardinals almost saw him as much of a front office fit for them possibly down the line than a player. He was a computer science major at Wash U. MLB trade rumors noted in their newser that Loutos was getting the call that he's already been working within their analytics department. So he's assisting the Cardinals analytics department, computer science major, Wash U alum, just got the call to be a big league reliever.
Huh. So what you're saying is he was already helping in the analytics.
Sporadically. So like Kevin Kelly in the Rays bullpen, when he was in the Guardians pen, and Kevin Kelly, I think, was William and Mary, maybe James Madison. I think it was James Madison, but I think he was a computer science major as well. And he would code in his free time. It's what he liked doing. And he was coding for like the NCAA baseball stat pages and all that. So Loutos, I'm sure, was like doing some level of coding or data entry for the Cardinals analytics department while also being a player in the St. Louis Cardinals organization.
That's incredible. Do you think he maybe went in and changed a little bit of code to say, well, now I throw 100?
I
You
don't
know,
think so
just by
because that's
fifth.
TrackMan and Hawkeye. Those are high speed cameras that pick up that. I
I don't
don't
know how
think
good
he
at
can
coding
change
is
that.
he? How good at
Right.
coding
So
is he?
like I maybe he read 1984 10 times and maybe he figured out how to change how things are brought up in the course of history. So yeah, I'm not sure about that, but Kevin Kelly, coder in the big leagues. Ryan Loutos, D3 computer science major at WashU, Brainiac School, big league reliever. So it sounds like he's got a job in the Cardinals front office whenever he hangs him up.
He kind of represents us, the computer science
I
nerd.
don't ever want you to compare yourself to a computer science major at WashU ever again.
All right, fine. I'm trying to make myself feel fine. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. What do we have to talk about now?
You might actually be better. You might be closer to him as a pitcher.
All right, I'll take that. I'll take that every day of the week. Are you kidding me? Hey,
Sink or swim for me.
if you give me any little cherries on that Sunday, I'm freaking gonna eat them.
Wrap of the game. I am on Fangraphs right now, and I'm going to go through all of the qualified players in Major League Baseball right now that are sporting a negative F4. And I'm going to ask you negative or positive. There are a lot of guys there, and we were talking right before we were recording. You have a little bit more context there that shed some light on, like, hey, all these guys are negative. They may not stay negative for long.
Yes. So Jack calls me and he says, "Do you want to play a game where we go over under on war totals for some of the guys that are negative?" And I'm on the phone with him and I say, "Well, some of these guys are just off to slow starts. Like, of course they are going to. But going through the entire list, because last year there were 12 players with a negative F4. This year, right now, we have 21 players who are currently under zero point 0.0 F4. So they've been negatively impacting their teams. So it's a good exercise because more than likely, half of these guys will stay in the negative, while half will most likely be positive players. So it might be easy to say, oh, of course, all the guys are going to be positive. They're off to slow starts. No, more guys are in the negative than you might think. And a lot of these guys that I'm looking at right now, there's a good chance they're going to still stay in the negative. But it also then highlights some stars that are in the negative right now that maybe folks didn't know have been that bad. And then we could say, well, they'll probably be fine. So it's going to be a fun game.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. Here's the word that we got going right now. So 21, like Peter said, I will start with the lowest F4 among qualified players in Major League Baseball. And it's just a quick yes or no and why. Okay.
Got it.
Andrew Benintendi of the Chicago White Sox is the worst qualified hitter in Major League Baseball. He's got a negative 1.3 F4 right now. It's crazy to think that Benintendi's that far down, but he's got a 41 WRC plus. This is clear as day for me. He's going to be a negative player.
He's going to be a negative player. He was a negative player last year.
Yep.
Because he's not good in left. So even if he improves offensively, I don't think it's going to matter much. I mean, this is
slugging.
Well, I have the numbers in the back, but I don't know it right now. So I have the zoom and then behind it is the number. So I'm not going to look. I think he's probably slugging like 320.
283. So Andrew Benintendi is slashing 195, 223, 283 right now. It's a 41 WRC plus, and he's been a well net negative defender at negative 1.3.
And there's no shot he's the most expensive Chicago White Sox player ever, right?
No chance
no
he signed the largest contract in White Sox history.
There's no way that's possible.
No.
The White Sox wouldn't do that.
No. That's silly.
That's stupid.
How about another big money guy?
Okay.
Nick Castellanos of the Phillies, only other guy at lower than -1. He's sporting a -1.1 F4. He's got a 67 WRC plus right now, and he is actually at the same defensive value as Andrew Benintendi. Both these guys by defensive value are at -6.5 on Fangraphs as it stands right now. So I think that's more of an indictment on Benintendi than a testament to Castellanos, but this guy has not been holding his weight whatsoever offensively. He's been really cold. And this is a tough one for me, really.
I'm going to go slightly positive, but really not that much. Last year, he had 29 home runs, played 157 games slash 272, 311, 476 for a 109 WRC plus with a 1.2 F4. He's not really even close to that right now. Quality of contact has dropped. He's not hitting the ball as hard. He's hitting more balls on the ground. So, do we think that Nick Castellanos is going to hit between 25 to 30 home runs and hit 270? I think we could both, not confidently, but as we sit here today, say no. So, what does it look like? Well, he's hitting 207 right now. Do you think it's going to go up to 250, 260? He has 4 home runs. Is he going to hit 20 more? Potentially. We could say that 250 with 25 home runs while playing bad defense. It's probably like a 0.3 F4. So that's why I'm going to go slightly over, but I don't think he gets to 1.
I go slightly under. I think 250 would be crazy. I
might
think
be
this
right.
guy's going to hit 220 this year.
I'm just giving him the benefit of the doubt here because his strikeout rate is lower than last year and his walk rate is higher, but he's just not impacting the baseball like he used to, while the rest of the Phillies do. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I think he will be in between that negative 0.5 to 0.5. Like, I think he's going to be in that bucket.
Mm-hmm. I think he's at like negative 0.1. That just
Something
feels like
that.
The Castellanos special. And the thing is, like, he's going to deliver in some massive moments. And I think he's going to be great again in the postseason, but that doesn't mean WAR over 162.
And I don't think Phillies fans really care. Like,
No.
I think they love him on their team, and like he shows up in some big moments and whatever.
What's crazy is, like, just because he's going to be a negative player doesn't mean that he's a bad player for the Philadelphia Phillies. Like, he does exactly what the Phillies ask him to do.
Fills a role.
Phil's are rolling. Elihuris Montero of the Colorado Rockies, negative 0.9 F4 of 52 WRC plus. He was negative 1 last year. He's negative.
Yeah, this will be quick. He'll be negative. I mean, I just don't know why he's even getting playing time. Respectfully.
Yep.
I mean, he's just been a negative since he's been up, but keeps getting run.
Andrew Vaughn of the White Sox, 45 games in, a 62 WRC plus and a negative 0.8 F4. Had a couple homers over the weekend. Is that right? Or was that last week during the week?
I don't know if it was a couple. I know he had one. I mean,
he might have had one end of last week.
Yeah, he's got 3 total. What do you think? You're the White Sox fan.
I'll go positive just because this is the last year that I kind of hold out hope for Andrew Vaughn.
I kind of agree with you because I'm looking at a year last year where he was a 103 WRC plus and he had 21 home runs. He finished with 0.4 F4. But then there was also another year where he played 134 games, hit 17 home runs with a 113 WRC plus and finished negative. So I think he's very similar to Castellanos. I think they're going to be good hitters, but they're never going to provide any value defensively. And I think he finishes within this 0.5 to negative 0.5 bucket. And I'll say slightly positive. I think he will be a positive player somewhat at the end of the year.
Nice. Joey Meneses of Washington. This one's unique. 60 WRC plus, a negative 0.7 WAR as it stands right now. I think this guy's a good hitter.
I don't.
Okay.
I think what's your definition of good hitter? Because what I'm envisioning from a first base DH is a guy who hits for a ton of power. But Joey Meneses does not do that. I mean, Joey Meneses has 1 home run this year. Last year, Joey Meneses had 13 home runs. And like in 2022, this guy was in AAA at 30. He was a below average hitter last year, and he's gotten even worse. I think he's going to be in the negative. I'm pretty confident in it, honestly, because he provides absolutely zero value defensively, and I don't think he's a good hitter. Doesn't provide any power. Between
AAA and the big leagues, he had 33 homers in about 140 games in 2022.
Yeah, but I don't care about his AAA
it's
stats.
In AAA.
All I've seen in the majors is 10 to 15 homers.
It's crazy. Like 2022, 13 homers in 56 games. And then 2023, 13 homers in 154.
And he has 1 this year.
Who are you?
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? You convinced me. Negative. That's fine. Jack Sawinski of the Pirates, 47 games in, a 59 WRC plus and a negative 0.7 F4. He's a negative defender at this point, which is unique. But if this guy's a negative defender, I think he's got no shot to be an above average player, an above replacement level player. Sorry.
I think this guy's just off to a bad start. I mean, he's not a 172 hitter. Like last year, he was 26 jacks, 13 bags stolen. He walked 14% of the time, slash 224, 339, 454, 112 WRC plus. He put up nearly a 3 F4 last year. I think this is a bad start. I'm going positive. There's no way he's this bad. Like I
I
just can't. I can't imagine that.
Yeah, like I think the defensive value is the taste breaker for me at this point because I just assume, hey, he's going to be a good defender, but he may struggle with the stick a little bit, and he's struggling in both at this point. And if he's not going to defend, I say negative. Um, I want to lean positive. I don't. I do with the next guy, Cedar Rafaela of the Red Sox, a 51 WRC plus, a negative point 0.7 F4 at this point right now. This guy's going to be positive. I think he's a world class defender.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. Rookie struggles early on. Young guy makes sense. He's getting, I think. Do you think the Red Sox send him down? Probably never.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so then if they aren't, he's going to end up being a positive player. He's just going to get more and more playing time. The defense is going to start to kick in. And even if he's a below average offensive player, the defense is going to win out and he's going to be positive.
So Cat just signed an 8-year deal. Like, I just don't think you send that guy down if you're not in the shoes of the Baltimore Orioles or the Atlanta Braves or the Philadelphia Phillies. You know what I mean?
I totally agree with you. That's why. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think they will.
Javier Baez, negative.
Yeah, because the defense has fallen off a cliff. Now he had a great series. He did against the D-backs. He had 8 hits, but
It upped his WAR to negative point 0.4.
yeah, I mean, I'm going negative. Can't defend anymore. And I
How
saw it
about,
firsthand.
yeah.
Like there was a ball where, it was, I don't know if it was bases loaded. I know there was runners on third, runners on second and third, and it's a ground ball back to him and he just like double clutches it and throws it in the dirt. And like it was a catchable ball for the catcher to pick it, but he didn't. And like that cost them a run. Like Javier Baez, all you had to do was throw a strike and he's out. I mean, it just can't happen. So yeah, I'll go negative.
How about two guys in Seattle, both with a negative zero point 0.4 F4? Ty France in 43 games has an 89 WRC plus. Mitch Haniger has a 91 WRC plus, and both are sitting at negative zero point 0.4.
I actually think that, mm, I think. I think both of them will be in the positive, but not by much because neither of them provide any value defensively. But Mitch Haniger has been an absolute hole when he does play defense. But luckily, Mitch Haniger has 6 home runs. Um, and I think they're both better hitters than what they've shown. I don't think either of them finish above like one, but they'll be both positive.
So I don't want to decide, but I feel like one's going to be positive, one's going to be negative. And if I had to bet, France positive, Haniger negative, just because he's that hole defensively.
That's how I would bet, but I do think both will be positive.
Yeah. Nolan Shonawell in LA. This is an easy one for me. I think he's going to be positive. I think Shonawell got rushed up there, and I think that's clear as day. I don't think I'm breaking any news, and that's a take at all. But Shonawell at this point has an 82 WRC plus and a negative zero point 0.3 WAR. He can hold his own at first base, and man, like that offensive profile is going to sort of kind of click for
He's
him
also going to play every single day.
every day.
Every day. So he's
There's
just going to
no
accumulate
pressure.
too much. Yeah, I think he will be positive as well.
Mitch Garver, easy positive for me. Garver got off to a slow start. 81 WRC plus, a negative zero point 0.3 F4 at this point.
100%. I mean, he already has 5 home runs. Like,
Yeah.
but he's hitting 169. Like, I just don't see that continuing much. Now, do I think he's going to be like a great player moving forward? He's going to be totally no, but he's going to be better and he's going to be positive.
He's going to be better than a 81 WRC plus.
Yeah, just shitty.
Here's one for you. Torque.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to keep buying in.
Spencer Torkelson to lay the groundwork. 44 games, an 87 WRC plus, and a negative zero point 0.3 F4.
Why doesn't he hit the ball hard? He has a 256 xWOBA. That's horrible. I mean, to put that in perspective, so xWOBA again is measuring your quality of contact while adding in strikeouts and walks. He is the third worst in the league. Like, that's horrific. So I'm just, I'm going to say over because I want it, not because I legitimately think that it's going to happen. I just can't imagine this guy actually being as bad as he's been.
Yeah.
I can't do it. And he did hit 31 home runs last year, got hot in the second half. I expect that to happen again, and I expect him to be positive. But damn it, it's like, I mean, I keep going to
So,
bat for the guy, and he's not going to bat for himself, if you know what I mean.
so for me, ship has sailed on 30 homers. And I think the way he gets to a positive WAR is 25 homers. And the ship has sailed at 25 at this point.
I mean, that's so shitty. Like, are you kidding?
Might be an even year thing. Like he was a negative one win player in 2022. He was
First
optioned in
year.
2022.
First year.
23 at 31. He's a 2 win player.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, I think he's going to be positive, but damn,
It's crazy.
damn,
Randy Arozarena, easy. Started like shit. Positive. It's
positive,
Randy.
positive.
Charlie Blackman of the Colorado Rockies. Blackman at this point, 71 WRC plus, a negative zero point 0.2 F4. He might just be a little too old at this point.
Yeah, but I still think he's going to be a positive player because I think that he is going to. There's going to be a lot of summer games in Coors Field where, the balls are just bouncing in his way, and like I think he's going to be a good enough hitter. He's not a good defender, and Ward's going to dock him for that, but I think he'll be in the 0.6 ish range. Like when I look at how he did last year, he was 0.8. Like I think he's going to be 0.6 this year.
So my thing is a 93 WRC plus, and this was like his worst defensive season. 93 WRC plus in 2021 on 150 games. He was a negative zero point 0.1 F4 guy. I could see that happening again this year.
I could, but I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna say positive, not by much though.
Highest WRC plus among negative defenders belongs to Josh Bell of the Miami Marlins. 97 WRC plus, but obviously a massive hole at first base. He's going to play there every day. Negative zero point 0.2 F4.
Um, I think he's a sneaky negative. And I think it's because he's so, so bad defensively. And the fact that he is negative right now, while not being that bad of a hitter, I don't necessarily think it's going to get better offensively. So if he's around this while playing horrific defense,
Yeah.
I think there's a strong shot that he's a negative player. So I'm going to go with negative for him.
Yeah, I think I lean negative too, especially because he at this point is one of the focal points, if not the focal point of the Marlins offense. He's one of the focal points of the
Yeah.
Marlins offense.
Brian
So
De La
like,
Cruz is the guy.
yeah, you game plan for Brian De La Cruz, Chaz Chisholm, and
Jazz Chisholm.
Keith Hernandez on a spring training game called him Chaz Chisholm, and I just thought it was pretty funny. So you game plan for those guys and
Jesus Sanchez, kind of.
maybe shit Dane Myers at this
Yeah.
point, and like Josh
Otto
Bell.
Lopez.
Otto, yeah, Otto's the guy you game plan for right now. Corbin Carroll, positive, 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 positive. But Corbin Carroll rocking a 63 WRC plus and a negative zero point 0.2 WAR at this point.
Yeah, the impact's been terrible, but
Yeah,
I refuse to believe it until I see it with my own eyes.
he'll get right. Strictly because of my morals, Paul Goldschmidt's going to be a positive player. Paul Goldschmidt has a 78 WRC plus and a negative zero point 0.2 WAR. You're going to do it.
Um, this sucks. I don't even know what to say. I'll go positive. I love him, but I think the silence shows genuinely what I think of him right now. I'm just watching some of the worst ABs ever, and he's not playing any defense anymore. It just looks like he's older, which is like that happens. Or it also, with a guy like Paul Goldschmidt, some guys just have down years sometimes too. Like maybe then he comes back next year and is like pretty good. But this could be like a terrible year, and I think it is legitimately we're watching a terrible year. So I'll go positive, but I think you know my real answer.
That really stinks. Jorge Polanco, Seattle, punching at a 32% clip. He's got an 82 WRC plus, hitting a buck 92 right now. OBP under 300 and a negative 0.2 WAR.
So I think he's going to be positive. But what I will say is, like, if I'm a Mariners fan, I was promised a guy who in 2021 hit 33 jacks, 124 WSC plus, put up a 4-win season. He's just not that guy anymore. Not even close. Doesn't hit the ball nearly as hard. Strikes out way more. Like in 2021, he struck out 18% of the time. He strikes out 31% now. And even last year, he was at 25%. Now he still gets his walks, but the power isn't there. Stolen bases aren't there. Because he doesn't make as much consistent contact and because it's not loud, he's not going to hit for high average. The OBP is going to be fine, but his slugging percentage in 2021 was over 500. It's now 308. Like, this is just not that player. And I don't think he ever will be that player again. I think that was more of his best season he'll ever have. So if I'm expecting 15 home runs for a guy who's hitting 230, like, we're probably looking at a anywhere from 1 to a 2-win player. And I think he's on the lower echelon of 1. So I will say positive, but this is not the 4-win player. It just isn't.
Thumbs up. Two more. Justin Turner, very established. Justin Turner in Toronto, 96 WRC plus, but a negative 0.1 WAR. I hope they don't run him out in the field every day. If they don't, if they take care of him the way that I'm sure he was promised, I think he's a positive player.
100%. Nothing to add.
Manny Machado, positive.
Same thing.
Do the
Manny
merch.
Machado. So that'll do it for this episode of the Just Baseball Show. Make sure to go get your Just Baseball merch. See my hat? Go get yours in the episode description. For all those watching on YouTube, hit that big red subscribe button. And for all of those listening on audio, the best way to support is to rate and review 5 stars, whether it be on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, and support our partners. Again, it's a really good way to help out the show, and it's a good way to help yourself. If you want that first bet offer from BetMGM, make sure to go use that in the episode description. You need tickets, use Game Time, and make sure to use that code because you want to save $20 anyway, and it really helps us. Code Just Baseball on Game Time. Outlier, you need data, you want to try out this incredible product, 7-day free trial. Use code Just Baseball. All of them are in the episode description. Mailbag tomorrow, folks. So make sure that you're tuned in to our Instagram and our Twitter. We're going to be posting that graphic early in the morning. Make sure to get your questions answered. It's going to be Arm and I, and then I'm out. I'm out for the next few days. I'm going to Cancun for one of my best friend's wedding. So I'll be out from 22 to 27. You're stuck with Jack and Arm, and I apologize for it. I know all the episodes, they're going to suck. I'm just kidding. They're going to be probably way better now that I'm gone. So make sure that you stay tuned. For Jack and Will and I'm Peter Apple. And with that, thank you, everybody.